Hey, it's GT the Vibe Podcast. How you doing? Coming up to another episode, guys. I appreciate you guys continue to rock with me. I still got my verses up from the last one, so we're going to keep them up just in case. Y'all might need to read them. When I was talking about worship. I had a guy email me asking me about some relationship things, and he asked me what he should do after his divorce. So he had been married for a long time. I won't put all his business out there, but he's been married for a long time. His wife decided to divorce him, that the relationship wasn't what she thought it was going to be, and so they're in the post-divorce stage where everybody's kind of moving on. So he wants to know what are some things he can do, some things to look out for, things to be careful about with current society and the way the world works. So we're going to talk about that. And so number one is obviously you have to be able to accept whatever things happen in the relationship, right? Accept your role in whatever happened in the relationship. Everybody has a role, whether they admit it or not, doesn't matter. At the end of the day, they know their role and what their role played into the relationship going the way that it did. And so if a relationship goes sour, both parties have something to do. Now, granted, there's obviously the final straw, whether it be infidelity, whether it be financial stuff, whether it be alcohol, drugs, or whatever it may be. There's always the final straw, but there are things that lead up to it. And so I think understanding the things that lead up to it is very important, very key whenever you're talking about a relationship. And we have to also understand men, and we have to also understand women. And I think that's the one thing that people fail to realize, that we have to understand the nature of people, but we have to also understand what they aspire to be, right? And so I'm a natural man. I can naturally act and operate as a man, but I know what I aspire to be. And so I told him, I said, man, number one, post-relationship, obviously the divorce is over with, understand your role. Understand what role that you played in the demise of your relationship, because everybody plays a role. You can't just blame one person and say it was all on them. It was on the two. It takes two people to be in a relationship. It takes two people to get out of a relationship. So whether you're dating somebody or whether you're married or engaged or whatever, understand that piece, that it takes two people to be in a relationship. And so when things go sour, two people were involved with things going sour. And I said, the number two thing you want to do is work on yourself. Figure out what you want to do. If it's getting a relationship with the man upstairs, get one. Get a relationship with him. Better yourself, become closer with him, and then understand the man that you want to be. Become the man that you want to be. Do the work. Put the work in to become the man that you want to be. Right? And if it's for women that are post-divorce or become the woman that you want to be. Understand that society is telling you to do this, this, and this, but you ain't got to do that. You can still become the woman or the man that you want to be. So focus on yourself, because what you don't want to do is take extra baggage that you already have from one relationship to the next, because you're just going to run into the same problem over and over and over again, and you're going to have the same issues, and you're never going to be able to change or grow because of those issues. Another thing that I told him, I said, man, don't date for a while. I know that a lot of times they say, and it's been scientifically proven, that men take a little bit longer to get over that the breakups or the divorces. And so women typically will move on fairly quickly, because there's an abundance of men. Like, all you got to do as a woman is open your legs, and then men will dive in, like religiously dive in. And so they can do that. But men, on the other hand, they don't control sex, so they don't control the move on, how to move on, how quickly you move on. And so men are more than likely going to work on themselves. They're going to try to better themselves. It will take longer, but they will try and do it. Whereas women typically just dive into whatever's next, right? They need the validation. That's probably the reason why they left the relationship. They need the validation, so now they go out and they seek it, they get it. But then they keep getting it, and then they ruin themselves, and then then the baggage, I call it the Santa Claus bag that people have behind them, they're just compounding, and throwing things in there, taking it to the next relationship. So now the next guy has to deal with this crap, and he doesn't want to. The next guy doesn't deserve to have to deal with this crap, and so they take it on to the next relationship, and then they wonder why it just keeps going downhill. There's a reason why after the first divorce, if you get married again, the next divorce is more likely to happen. Then if you get divorced again, the next divorce is more likely to happen. Some people will have 3 or 4 divorces and still not think that they're the problem. Where I'm like, if you have that many divorces, something is wrong with you. There's something that you're not doing fundamentally that you should be doing that needs to change. And that requires you to look in the mirror, look at yourself, and self-examine. Okay, what is it that I'm doing wrong that I need to fix as an individual, so that way I can be better for whatever comes next? Because if the next man is the man, or the next woman is the woman, or they're the person that you've been waiting for, But you go into that relationship with a lot of baggage, you're gonna have a lot of problems. And so you have to understand that. Yes, we know society is feminist and all that stupid crap that society spews out there, but it doesn't mean that you have to conform to it. You can still be set apart from all that, right? You can still choose to do things in a different manner. And so understanding that, I think that that's one thing that we have to continue to push as humans and as individuals is individualism. And so you have the ability to be set apart and be different than what's around you. So work on yourself. Go to therapy if you have to go to therapy and figure out what it is that you need to work on to better yourself, because you don't want to be the same person, right? Nobody goes into a relationship and is like, man, I just want this relationship to suck and to end. At least I don't believe so. Are there people that probably do? Yeah, you're probably going to have a few that have fall through the cracks. They get into a relationship and then that's the mindset that they have. But that's not the majority of people out here. We can at least be honest about that. And so as he asked me these things and I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, man, work on yourself. Put yourself first. Put what you need first, right? Learn how to communicate in a masculine, manly way. You do have people out here that will ruin people. They'll go from one relationship to the next, hopping from one tree to another, monkey branching. People do that. But does that mean that you have to do that? No. Right? You'll get a woman, get divorced. She cheated on her husband, but she'll divorce him like it's his fault. And then move on to man, and just keep going down the line. And then eventually their value is gone, and then they wonder why nobody wants them. Well, look what you did. Men, they'll do the same thing. Oh, man, I'm broke up now, so I'm going to go and mess around with a lot of chicks. I'm just going to have as many chicks as I possibly want to. Now their value's down. Now they're not worth a damn because they'd have been with 15 chicks, right? 15 different chicks. So now you're not worth a damn. And so understanding that piece is why you must take the time to better yourself. Get better. Be okay being alone. I've spoken about being alone. I've spoken about what it means to be alone. I've spoken about why it's good to be alone. There are times when being alone is a good thing. And I think that we have to see it. And we have to live through it to understand it. Right? And so my advice to him, better yourself. Don't move fast to the next. Be alone. Be okay being alone. Experience being alone. Right? And if you want a relationship with God, get a relationship with God. Understand the nature of the beast, the nature of men, the nature of women, and how they're going to act. But don't go into the next relationship expecting the same outcome. Otherwise, you're preparing yourself for failure. And if you prepare yourself for failure, you're setting yourself up for failure. You're eventually going to fail anyway. And so that's my advice to him. I didn't want to go too long on this one. But those are the things. Those are the things that matter when you're moving on to the next, or when you're moving on from one to another. You're trying to get better yourself. You're trying to figure yourself out. Learn yourself. Explore yourself. And be okay being alone. Again, if you like our stuff, this is G2 The Vibe Podcast. Just a little quick episode. Again, I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with us. This is GT. I'm out.